Hello guys, today we're going to learn about law of sines and law of cosines. Basically, law of sines and law of cosines is basic trigonometry. It's just the problem of inserting numerous calculator functions and just solving the problems of a triangular function. So before we start learning about this topic and actually doing some questions and examples about law of sines and law of cosines, we must know some definitions that will help us understand this trigonometric topic. So the first vocabulary word we have is trigonometric ratio. It basically is a ratio where similar triangles have equivalent ratios for their corresponding sides and angles. So another vocabulary word that we have is law of sines. So basically, the definition of law of sines is that it relates the sine of each angle to the length of the opposite side for any triangle, and that the main objective of using law of sines is basically to find um, is used to find the missing angle or side length of any triangle. So in addition to finding, to understanding the concept of law of sines, is that we have to know what sine is first. So honestly, the definition of sine is a basic trigonometric function which helps solve missing side measurements and angles. So where do you find the sine function? So where do you find sine? So on the calculator that on this presentation here shows that sine could be found when you press the second function and then press the sine function, which leads you to sine on your calculator. It also is companioned by the cosine, sine, and tangent function, which are also other um, trigonometric functions that help you find other angle measures, measurements and basic trigonometry, which you will find later in trigonometry, calculus, pre-calculus, and other mathematical subjects. So back to law of sines. So right now I'm going to present you, the basic equation of law of sines. What it is, and how to easily understand it and simplify it, so you can solve the problems and other mathematical situations. So first, we must draw a triangle. So I have triangle A, B, and C. Okay, and now we're gonna label it A, B, and C. So we have A, B, C. So in this triangle, the capital letters, which are A, B, and C, are the angles, while the smaller letters are the sides. So are the opposite sides, the smaller letters. Um, so the opposite side of angle B is B, and then for C, C, then for A, A. So the capital letters are the angles, which are A, B, and C, And the lowercase letters are the opposite sides of the angles, which are highlighted in the green color. Now we have to learn what the is. Uh, equation is for the law of sines, and this equation is our major tool for solving problems, for finding the angle measurements and side lengths of a triangle, the missing measurements for basically a triangle. So our basic equation is sine A, capital A over lowercase a, equals to sine B over lowercase b, and finally is equal to sine capital letter C over lowercase c. So that's our equation here, right? And just to express it out, just to make it easier for you, just to make it easier for you, sine A, the capital letter A, remember it's the angle, so it's the angle over the side. And then sine B, again, is the angle B over side B. So we use this tool, we use this equation whenever we have an angle and a side that is where uh, the opposite side is in collaboration with the angle, and we also have additional angle or a side, but we have to find the missing uh, angle or side that collaborates with that side or angle. So our first example or problem for law of sines is law of sines angle side, or AAS. So in angle side, the triangle that we have in our situation, in our problem, has two angles and one side. Okay, so let's first draw out our triangle just to make it easier. So let's draw it out. So we have triangle I, J, K. Remember the capital letters are the angles, right? And let's just label out our angles. So capital, so angle I is 28 degrees. Angle J is 96 degrees. And that our side, our given side is 20, right? So our two given angles are 28 degrees and 96 degrees, and our given side is 20. So for right now, let's just erase this, and we're going to redraw the triangle so we could have enough space to do our problem and to write our equation. So this is erased. Now we're just going to draw again, and okay, so we're going to draw triangle I, J, K. So I, J, K. So remember, this is our side JK, which is 20, right? Then our angle J, which is 96 degrees, and our angle I, which is 28 degrees. Okay? So now let's set up our law of sines equation. So which is sine A over side B equals to sine B over side B. So again, remember so it's to express it to you, it's sine times the angle measure over its opposite side, right? Then sine, same thing for b2, right? So sine the function times angle b, then divide that by its opposite side. So let's just erase this. So now we set up the law of sine's equation. So just for reference, we're gonna restate. I'm just gonna type in the angle measured and side length. Uh, so just as a reference again. So we got angle. We have angle I, which is equal to 28 degrees. I'm sorry, 28 degrees. And then we have um, angle J, which is equal to 96 degrees. And then we have our given side, which is JK, right? And that it is equal to 20. So that's our given. And that's our given information. So we set up our law of science equation, and I just referenced the angle measures and side lengths. So just remember that law of science could work to find the missing side length, or to find the missing side length. In this case, we're angle side, because in our given measurements we have an angle where the opposite side is also given. Plus, we have an additional angle measure, making law of science usable. So basically, in this question, I'm just going to state it again that we have two given angle measures, which are angle I equals 28 degrees and angle J equals 96 degrees, and that also our given side is JK. Our only given side is JK, which is equal to 20. So after we've done this, our next step is to lay out the law of science equation. We already did, but we're just gonna insert our information, our given information, to the equation. So let me just type it out for you. So we have sin. Let me just make this a little bigger. Okay. So okay, and okay, that's better. So I'm just gonna type it out for you because it's much more easier for you instead of just drawing the problem. So we have sin, we have sine times sine times 28, right? And now we're just gonna divide that, right? Divided by, so the dotted line is just a fraction, so sine times 28 divided by its opposite side, right? So for our angle, so the opposite side for for the 28-degree angle, which is angle I, its opposite side is 20. Okay, so that's 20. Then my bad. And then we have to equal it. So that is equal to 20 So sine b, so that's sine more, sine times our other angle measure, which is 96 degrees, which is angle J, right? So times 96 degrees, okay? And that's going to be over that is going to, you're going to divide sine times 96 divided by um, our missing. So right now we're going to find our missing side. We're going to find the missing side, which is opposite to the 96-degree angle, which is angle J, right? So right now I'm just going to put x, just as a variable, just to make it easy for me. But for you guys, I don't know if it's easier, but you could put the side length. So like for example, if I needed to find the opposite side of 28, right? For a variable, I'll just put JK, because that's the opposite side that I'm gonna find measurement, the side length for. But right now, because it's easier for me in my mind, I'm just going with the variable x. So remember, in the numerator, for each fraction, right? It's sine times the degrees, the angles in parentheses. Always put it in parentheses when you insert it into the calculator. Then you're going to divide that by the side length, the given side length that we have. So our given side length is JK equals 20. So our next step is to just basically solve for x. And remember, x equals, let me just write that here, x equals our missing side, which is opposite to the 96-degree angle, which is angle J. So let me just add this here. So I'm just x is equal to our missing side length. So let me just put this on the side for to make it easier. So x equals equals missing side length. And I know you can't see it right now because I don't have the drawn triangle, but the missing side length that we have to find, which is opposite to angle J, the 96-degree angle, is IK. So we have to find missing side length IK. Okay? I'm just going to put this on the side here and just make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's better. So this is our missing side length, IK. Okay. Good. So I'm just going to put this on the side. So now an easy way, so like the only way, an easy way to solve this equation is just to crisscross it first. Before we type it into calculator, we must crisscross it. Okay, so we're going to crisscross it. So in this situation, sine times 28 crisscrosses here, then sine times 96 multiplies with 20. Okay, so crisscross it. So after you crisscrossed it, right, your equation should, or your ratios, right, so sine A over lowercase a and sine B over B is just our trigonometric ratio. So the ratio, right, the problem, the equation should look like this, should be laid out like this after you crisscrossed. So basically, after you done this, after you correctly crisscrossed it, and it's done correct. So 20 times sine times 96 degrees, and divide that by sine 28 degrees. So after that, you basically just have to type this equation in the calculator and just divide. So I'm gonna type it in the calculator right now. So I got type in 20, right? Then I type in sine, right? The sine function, press that. Then in the parentheses, I put 96, right? Then close the parentheses, then divide that by sine again, press sine, times, in parentheses, 28, and then close the parentheses. So when you divide that, 20 sine times 96 divided by sine times 28, you should get a decimal. You should get a decimal which comes out to 42.36771614. So again, when you divide, right, it should come up to 42.36771614. Then basically after that, you just simplify the answer. So when I simplify the answer, right, um, so when I simplify the answer, I get that side, ik, which is our missing side that we have to solve for, equals 42.37, right? 42.37, and that basically is your answer for solving this problem. So let's do another question for law of sines, angle side. Just a note that remember, whenever there's angle side, you're gonna find the missing side, and whenever there's side angle, right, we must find the missing angle. So to start with, we have a triangle, right? Right, we have a triangle. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna label it. We're gonna label it BAC. BAC, right? And we're just going to put the angle measures. So C is 40 degrees, right? A is 90 degrees, and lastly, the angle. I mean, the side that we have, the only side we have, the given side is BA, right? So that is 6. That's 6 meters, right? So I know it's sloppy right now, but I'm going to erase it later. Just to make it easier for you guys, I just displayed it. Okay. So our main objective here is to find the side measurement of BC, right? See, BC is the opposite side of angle A, which is 90 degrees. Okay. So I erased the triangle. So just as a reference again, I'm going to put down the angle measures and the given side length. Um, so angle A is equal to 90, right? And then lastly, angle C is equal to 40 degrees, right? And that our given side is given side is BA, right? So it's BA, which is 6 meters. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this over here, right? And now I'm gonna insert our law of sines equation, right? Our major tool, our formula. So that is, sin sine A sine A over A, which is equal to sine B over side B. So again, right, sine times angle A, divide that by, over side A, then sine times angle B over side B. So I'm just going to put that on the side, the reference. Now I'm just going to solve. So this is how you solve it, how you solve this problem, right? So we basically insert our given information into our equation, our law of sines equation. So if I insert the information, it would be like this. So it would be sine times 40 degrees, right, over over 6, right? And then it would be, the second ratio would be sine times 90 degrees, right, over x, right, over the side length that we have to find. So in this case is BC. We have to find the side measurement of BC. So let me just put that as a statement 2. Find measurement of side BC. So, okay. Good. I'll put this over here. Right. That's our main objective. Find the measurement of BC. Okay. Next, again, right, we're gonna crisscross as always. So I got my marker here. Then I'm just gonna basically crisscross that way. Crisscross. Okay. So when I crisscross, the equation should be laid out like this. Should be laid out in this fashion. So it should be 6, right? 6 times sine parentheses times 90 degrees, right? Over sine 40, my bad. Sine 40 degrees, sine times 40 degrees. Okay. And so yeah, x right here. But you don't have to put it, I just put it because it's easier in my mind. Okay. So let me just make this bigger. Okay. So it should be like this. So it should be laid out after your crisscross. It should be 6 times sine times 9 degrees. Divided by or over by sine times 40 degrees. So basically, when you calculate it, or you get your calculator out and type it in, okay? So basically, when you type it in, right, you should come up to about 9.33, something around that, 9.33, and 9.33 should equal 9.33, and that should basically your answer. So it'd be, remember to label 9.33 meters. It's the side measurement of BC. So there you go. That's your answer. So it's time for another question, right? So now I'm gonna present you a word problem, right? So let me read the problem to you. So Mr. Bob has a triangular fence around his garden and his front yard of his house. The longest side of this triangular fence is 12 feet long. Its opposite angle is 84 degrees. An additional angle measure is also given. It is 22 degrees. So what is the length of the side in feet, which is opposite of the 22-degree angle in the fence? So basically, this question is asking, uh, what is the opposite side, right? Which is, corresponding and opposite of the 22-degree angle. So for this one, because I already have all the given information, right? I could draw the triangle in my mind. But if you want to draw the triangle out, put all the labels, the side measurements and angle measures, you could do that. But I'm just going to solve it immediately, right away. So I'm going to first put in my formula, my equation, law of sines equation, which is sine, sine angle A, sine times angle A, right? Over, over side A. Remember, the side is always in lowercase letters. Okay, letters. Then we're gonna put, which is equal to sine times angle B over side B, right? See, okay, that's our equation. And let me just put this a little smaller. 8. Right. So I'm just gonna put this on the side as a reference. So now I'm gonna insert, put all my given information into the equation. Right, I have sine our given angle, first angle, right, which also has the opposite side, right? In the problem, right, the angle is given its opposite side too. So we put that first. So we put 84 degrees over 12, right? which is equal to sine times our additional angle measure, which is 22 degrees. Sine times 22 over x, right? Because that's our variable, or you could put, you know, the opposite side when you draw the triangle, the opposite side as your variable. But for me, it's easier x, okay, as my variable. Good. So now, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Good. Okay, so this, you're supposed to get this, right? This is how you lay it out after you put it into the equation. Now you know what you have. You know what you have to do. So you have to crisscross, right? So I'm gonna crisscross like that. Then when you crisscross, your equation should be like this. So it should be 12 sine times 22 degrees 22 degrees over sine 84 degrees, sine times 84. Okay, then yeah, okay, so you're supposed to get this right after you crisscross. Just another note, another reference, that whenever you crisscross, right, the 12, for example, in this one, right, uh, the 12, right, it should go in front of sine, then it should go in front of sine, then it should continue to sine times 22, right? So sine should be all sine. 12 should be always be in the front of sine whenever you crisscross. Okay, whenever you multiply a number, when you crisscross, whenever you multiply a number with sine times an angle measure. Okay, so basically you just put this in a calculator and divide, and when you divide, right, it should be equal to, should be around 44.52, so 4.52 feet. So that's your answer, 4.52. Remember to label it feet, 4.52 feet. Okay? And I'll just circle this. So that's your answer. So the length of the side that is opposite of the 22-degree angle in the triangular fence is 4.52 feet. Good. So now I'm going to tell you how to solve law of sine side-side angle. So basically in side-side angle, law of sine side-side angle, you are given two sides and one angle, and you have to find the missing angle. So in side-side angle, we have to find the missing angle. So to continue, I'm going to draw a triangle, right? And we're going to solve a problem where we have to find the missing angle. Okay? So I'm going to draw the triangle. Triangle A, B, and C. Okay. So our triangle A, B, and C has two given side measurements. Okay, so side A and C is 110. side B and C is 55, and our given angle is 124 degrees, and that is angle B. So angle B is 124 degrees. And our main objective, right, our main mission is to find angle A. So that's our missing angle, and we have to find angle A. And angle A is the opposite angle of side BC, which is 55, okay? So to review, our given information is side AC is 110, side BC is 55, angle B is 124 degrees, and we have to solve for angle A, right? So now we're going to set up our equation. Our equation is sine times angle A over side A equals sine times angle B over side B. So that's, remember, that's our basic equation for law of sines. That's the law of sines. And now we are going to insert our given information into the equation. So our information is 124 degrees, which is the opposite angle of side 100 opposite angle of side AC, which is 110. Right, so we're gonna put sine times 124 over 110, right, equals sine x, right? X is our variable, or you could put A, angle A, because that's our missing angle. So I just put x because it's easier for me. So sine times x, or A, angle A, over 55. Okay. So now we're basically are going to crisscross our ratios, just like a lot of sines, angle side. So we're just gonna crisscross, and when we're going to crisscross, right, our ratio should look like this: 55 times sine times 124 degrees over 110. Okay. So that's going to be our ratio, but in law of sine, side angle, right? Uh, Before we just put the equation to a calculator and solve, we had to put sine -1. Okay, so sine -1 or cosine -1 or tangent -1. So all of these functions, when they have a -1, that's mostly used when finding a angle. Because we're finding an angle in this situation, we had to put sine -1. And we have to multiply sine -1 with our ratio. Okay? So I'm going to show you that. So it's going to be sine -1, right, parentheses, 55 sine 55 sine 124 degrees over 110, right? And then close the parentheses. And we're just going to put that into calculator, and then we're going to solve, okay? So just put that in the calculator, and you will get the answer somewhere around 24.45, I believe. But just round it up, and you're gonna find, and if you round it up, if you simplify it, it's going to be 24.5. Okay, so that's our answer, 24.5 degrees. So angle A, our missing angle A is 24.5 degrees, and that is the opposite angle of BC 55. So that's how you solve, how to use law of sines, side angle. So now we're going to learn about law of cosines, okay? So law of cosines works for any triangle. So basically, cosines is very similar to sines, but it's a different trigonometric function, okay? It's different from sine in the calculator. Okay, so what's the definition of the law of cosines? Okay, So basically, law of cosines is that it relates the cosine of each angle to the side lengths of the triangle, and is basically used to find mostly side lengths of a triangle. Okay. So now, just to understand this concept, I'm gonna draw a triangle A, B, and C plus with their angles and measures. So remember, uh, the capital letters are the angles and lowercase letters are the sides, right? Okay. Uh, so I'm gonna put some general information about log cosines down. So A equals side length 1, A, B equals side length 2, and C equals side length 3. Okay. Okay. So all of these side lengths are the opposite sides of their measures. Okay. Of their angle measures. So all of these side lengths are the opposite side of their angle measures. Okay. In addition, to solve a lot of cosine problems, right? We have a set of formulas that we could use to solve our missing sides. Okay. Uh, right, or angles and angles, because a lot of cosines works for both sides and angles. So our first formula is a equals a2, right? A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 uh, minus 2 times b times c times cos. Cos is the abbreviation for cosine times the angle measure, right? So this formula works for any side length, right? That when we have to find the missing angle measure, right? So as you can see in the beginning of the equation, right, of the formula, uh, it begins with the side length first, right? The side length first, right? The variable of the side length, right? Then it equals. Then at the end of the formula, right, it ends with the angle measure. So we use these, like again, we use these to find. We use these the law of cosines, right? We use the law of cosines to solve missing angle measures and side lengths. So in summary, right, to find the missing side length, right, in this case, in law of cosines, is that we first have to, you know, multiply the other side lengths by 2, and then subtract them from the side lengths being in the power 2, right? And like being squared then added. Then after that, later on we multiply that by cosine cos times the angle measure. Okay. So basically, you use this formula, right? This given formula, to find the missing angle measures and side lengths in law of cosines. So we are going to use to experiment with law of cosine side angle side, and you're going to learn about it. So in law of cosine side angle side, uh, we have two given sides and one angle measure. And in side angle side, our main objective, our main mission, is to find, is to solve for the side. We have to find the missing side. Okay, and that is what this side angle side is about. So in this example of side angle side law cosines, I'm going to draw triangle A, B, and C. Okay, so that's our basic triangle that we have to find the missing side for. Triangle A, B, and C. Okay, so in this triangle, right? Our two given sides are side A and B, which are 10, which is 10, okay? And our other given side is B and C, side B and C, which is 16, okay? And our given angle is angle B, which is 123 degrees. So that's our given angle, 123 degrees, okay? So, and we have to find the opposite side, the side that is opposite to angle B, 123 degrees. So we must solve the side length of B, of side B, okay? So to solve, to find the missing side, side B, we have to insert our equation, our law of cosines formula to find this side. So what is our formula? So our formula is b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times cosine or cos times angle b. And that is to find b, okay, side b. So in our formula we have to, we should insert our given information, right? So our given information is, AB equals 10, is 10, BC is 16, and our angle is 123 degrees, okay? So when you insert your information, when we insert our given information into the equation, it should look like this. It should be b squared equals 16 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 16 times 10 times cos times 123 degrees, okay? So we basically just inserted, the two sides, our two given sides, right? 16 and plus 10, right? 16 and 10. We squared them up, 16 squared plus 10 squared. Then subtracted them from 2 times 16 times 10, right? Subtracted them from 2 times the side. And then we just multiplied them with cos times, multiply cos with our given angle. Okay? And so for these type of questions, right? We have all the required angle and side measurements, right? So our required side and angle measurements, and then we have all the information that we need to solve for side B. We just put the whole equation just like this: b squared equals 16 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 16 times 10, etc. And just put this into the calculator, okay? So how do you put into the calculator? You first had to put you had to first put the square root sign, the square root function, okay? So we had to put the whole equation in the calculator in square root. So in our calculator we just press the square root function. Then following that we just put 16 squared, begin from 16 squared, and end with cos times 123 degrees. Okay, so you basically have to type b squared. Square root, right? I'm sorry, square root 16 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 16 times 10 times cosine times 123 degrees. And then you basically calculate, and after you calculate, your answer should be about 87.62. And that should be answered. But make sure to put the square root sign. If you don't put the square root sign, your answer is not going to make sense. It's going to be an error. It's going to be false. So you calculate and your answer should be 87.62. Okay? So in conclusion, the value of B must be about 87.6. Okay, if you simplify 87.6, and that is your answer. Now we're going to use law of cosine, side angle side, in a mathematical problem. So in this problem, right, we're going to solve for the side length. Is side measurement, side length of a side. So I'm going to draw out our problem, the triangle. So I'm gonna create triangle N, M, and O. Draw N triangle N, M, and O. Okay. So in triangle N, M, and O, side NM is 50 feet, so that's one of our given sides. Side M and O is 86 feet, and our given angle is angle M, which is 98 degrees. Okay, so in summary, our given information is NM is equal to 50 feet, side MO is equal to 86 feet, and angle M is 98 degrees. So our side, and angle. And our main, we have to solve for side A, or side M, which is opposite to angle M. So angle M is 98 degrees. So we have to find the opposite side of the 98-degree angle. Okay. So after this, I'm going to lay out the law of cosines formula and insert our given information. So our in this case, our formula is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times cosine times angle A. Okay, that's our general formula for law of cosines. And then I'm going to put our information in. Okay. So after I put my information in, our given information, our side, two sides, and one angle, our formula should look like this for law of cosines. It should be 50 squared, a squared, right, equals 50 squared plus 86 squared minus 2 times 50 times 86 times cosine times 98 degrees. And basically I just put the other sides in our given angle, and we have to solve for angle for side M, right, side M. Okay, so instead of M, I just put A in the beginning. It makes it much more easier. Okay. Okay. So as I said before, in law of cosine side angle side, we just put our information, our equation with the given information in it, and we just put it into the calculator. But remember, when typing it into the calculator, always put the square root. Always put the equations in square root, and that's going to give you the correct answer. If not the square root, it's going to give you a very wrong, very wrong answer. It's going to be an error. So that's the correct way of putting it by square root. Okay. So we have to lay it out in square root. Okay. So in general, our equation is going to be a squared or m squared, right, equals square root 50 squared plus 86 squared minus 2 times 50 times 86 times cosine times 98 degrees. And we put that into our calculator. Remember, we had to, after putting it into square root, we had to begin the equation with parentheses and close it with parentheses. And then we just put it into the calculator and basically solve. Press enter, and your answer should be about 105.3, around there somewhere. So our answer should be about 105.3 feet. So side M, right? What we have to find for side M should be about 105.3 feet, and that is your answer. So in this example, we are going to learn about law of cosine side, side, side. So the in contrast, right, law of cosine side, side, side is that we have to solve for an angle, where in law of cosines log cosine side angle side, we have to find for a side. Okay. So log cosine side, right? We have three given sides, right? As you can see, we have three given sides, and we have no angle. Right? We have no any angles. We don't have any angles, and we have to solve for an angle. We have to find a missing angle. Okay. So log cosine side must be used, right? To find any angle measurements with the only side measurements given. Okay. So because like in these problems, are all side, right? Side. We do not have any angle measure to insert next to cos. Okay. Cos. We don't have any angle measure to insert into cos. Remember in our equation, in our formula for log cosines, in the in the near end, right? We have to multiply cos with our angle measure, but we don't have an angle measurement. So instead of the angle measurement, right? We have to put a variable. So as a variable, I just put x. If I choose to put x because it's easier. If you don't, you can put the letter of the angle that we have to solve for. Okay. Okay. So continuing on with our example for side log cosines, we have triangle. We have triangle A, B, and C. Okay. So in triangle A, B, and C, our we have three given sides and no angle measures. Okay. So our sides are A and B is 5.0, 5. Okay, A and C is 6.4, and B inside BC is 8.2. So in summary, side AB is 5, side AC is 6.4, and side BC is 8.2. And we have to find the missing angle for. We have to find angle B. We have to find that's our objective to find angle B. Okay. So first we use log cosines to set up our equation, our formula. So we use the log cosine formula, which is which is a squared equals b b squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c times cos to its angle. So angle a. Okay. So we use that equation, that formula, and so again, our main mission is to find angle B, the angle measurement for angle B, and remember, angle B is the opposite side. Opposite side is angle AC. So angle B's opposite side is side AC, which is 6.4. Okay. So in the log cosines, right, our formula should be set up like this. In this situation, in this problem, AC squared equals BC squared plus AB squared minus 2 times BC times AB times cos times x. And remember, x is angle B, our variable, what we have to solve for, what we have to find. Okay. So in this equation, we started with AC squared because it's the opposite, it's the opposite side of the angle. So we start with that first. And that's for any side log cosines question. Okay. So we have to insert our given information. So our given information is the sides, right? Our given sides in A, B, and C, triangle A, B, and C. So it should look like this. 6.4 squared equals 8.2 squared plus 5.0 squared, 5 squared, minus 2 times 8.2 times 5 times cos times x, or angle B. Okay. So in this situation, right, and these for questions for side questions, log cosines, right, we must not insert the equation to the calculator immediately, right? Just like we did in not like we did in law of cosines, side angle side, right? So in law of cosine side angle side, we put the equation, right? When we put our given information, we just put in the calculator with the square root function, but we don't do that in side. So in side, we have to solve it manually, okay? Because we have to find the angle. So we have to first find the square for each side. So if we do that, right, our equation or formula should look like this. So 6.4 times 6.4 should be 40.96 equals 8.2 squared, which is 67.24, plus 5 squared, which is 25, minus 82, right? So 2 times 8.2 times 5 is 82, times cos, right, times x. Okay. So for the next step, for the next step, we had to add 67.24 plus 25, correct? So we add 67.24 plus 25. Then we subtract that total, which is 40.96, right? So 67.24 plus 25 is 92.24. Okay, and you have to subtract that from 40.96. So 92.24 minus 40.96, basic subtraction is 51.28. Okay, and after that, we have to lay out our remaining, our remaining numbers, our remaining factors, right? And we have to lay it out as a ratio, just like we did in law of sines. So we lay it out like a ratio. So our ratio should look like this: 51.28 over 82, right, equals cos times angle B or x. So that's what we have to solve for. Okay. Okay. So again, because we have to solve for angle measure, right? We have to insert our cosine -1. So just like sine -1 in law of cosines, we have to do cos -1. So before dividing our ratio 51.28 over 82, we have to multiply cos -1 with the ratio, because it is a side question, because we have to solve for an angle. So to find angle B, we have to multiply cos -1 by 51.28 divided by 82. And remember, we had to start with parentheses and end with parentheses again. Okay, so we just insert the equation, cos -1 times 51.28 over 82, and we should have an answer around 51.3 or 51.30. Okay, so in conclusion, angle B should be about 51.30. Okay, and that is your answer, 51.30. Again, cos -1, that function, that trigonometric function, is found along sine -1 in your calculator. So you just as a reference, it's near, it's on your calculator, and then you just multiply, then divide, right? Basically, and then you get your answer. Now we're going to do a question, solve a question for law of cosine, side. We have to find a angle measure. Okay, so now I'm going to draw out our problem, right? Triangle DEF. Okay, which is a right triangle. So we're going to draw right triangle DEF. Okay. So we have three given sides. So side D E is 70 kilometers. Side EF is 35 kilometers, and side DF is 42 kilometers. And our main goal is to solve for angle F. And angle F is the angle which is opposite, which opposite side is side DE, which is 70 kilometers. So first, we lay out our formula for law of cosines. So in this situation, our formula should be DE squared equals EF squared plus DF squared minus 2 times EF times DE times cos times x, or you could put angle F. So x is our variable that we had to solve for, our uh, our angle that we had to solve for. Okay, so so basically in the formula I just put out in the beginning, I put out the side that is opposite to angle F. Then I just following that I just put the other sides. Okay, in this formula, in this law of cosines formula. So we had to insert our given information into the formula. So if we do that, our formula should look like this: 70 squared equals 35 squared plus 42 squared minus 2 times 35 times 42 times cosine times x, or angle F. Okay. Remember, you have to solve for angle F. So remember, this is side side side, and we don't do it. Just put the whole thing in the calculator then solve. So it's not law of cosine side angle side, but we have to solve it manually. So if we solve it manually, 70 squared, right, equals 44,960 equals 35 squared, which is 1,225, plus 42 squared, which is 1764, 1,764, minus 2 times 35 times 45, which is 2,940 times cos times x. Okay. So after you do all the multiplication, your equation or your log cosines formula should look like this. It should look like 4,960 equals 1,225 plus 1,764 minus 2,940 times cos times x. Okay. So remember, in law of cosine side side side, we first have to add. So we have to add 1,225 plus 1,764, right? And we just add them. Okay, and we get the total, which is 2,989. So that's our total when we add 1,225 plus 1,764. Okay, and we just subtract that from 4,900, which is 70 squared. And remember, when we're doing side side side, okay, we don't touch, right? We don't subtract or add with. We don't play around with 2,940, which is 2 times 35 times 42. So we just leave that alone, and we also don't touch times cos times x. So we don't touch the cosine and the variable. So when we subtract 2,989 from 4,900, like 4,900 minus 2,989, our answer should be 1,911. So as I showed you before in the example of log cosines side side side, we had to put 1,000, our answer 1,911 into a ratio. Okay, the ratio should be over you know our leftover, our remaining factors, which is 2,940. So our ratio should look like this. It should be 1,911 over 2,940. Okay, equals to cos times x, right? And so this ratio is equal, it's going to solve for our x, which is our missing angle, which is angle F. So remember, we're finding an angle. Anytime we have an angle, we have to multiply with the functions in a -1 form. Okay, so it's cosine, which is our function, times -1. So cos -1, remember you could find that on your calculator next to sine -1 or tangent -1. So cos -1 times 1911, divide that by, or over by 2940. Okay, so remember it should be always be in parentheses. The ratio should be in parentheses, so it should be cos -1 times 1911 over 2940, which should be equal to, which should come around 49.458. So 49.458, and we'll just simplify that into 49.46. So our answer should be 49.46 degrees. So angle F in this problem is equal to 49.46 degrees. And that's how you solve, or how to, use law of cosines, side to side, utilize that into a problem.